A few months ago, I gave up on everything, and my life has changed in ways that I never even could have imagined. A few years ago, I was really miserable. I was hating my job. I hated working for corporate America, and I got into this mental state of I need to do everything I can to get out as quickly as possible. As a result, I started content creation, and I viewed this as the sole means of me being able to escape my corporate job. I worked on it so much and I gave it everything I had. I worked on it after work, I worked on it on the weekends, I sacrificed personal time, and I hustled a lot to try and get this channel growing and to a point where I could make enough money off of it to quit my job. I figured the faster I could get it done, the quicker I could escape and change my life. This resulted in me becoming even more miserable. I was working two jobs essentially. I didn't have time for myself. I sacrificed going out with friends and going and having fun and doing things I enjoyed, all because I was so desperate to get out of the situation I was in. I wasn't enjoying my life at all, and I kept telling myself, it'll be over soon. I'm working so hard, it'll be over soon. And it just wasn't. I kept wondering when things were going to change, and they weren't. My job stayed the same. I didn't really like working for corporate America, and my channel and my social media accounts just weren't growing. They're growing a little bit, but not fast enough to the point where I could get out anytime soon. And this really disheartened me, and it just made me even more sad that I was putting in all this work and not seeing any results. And this also made me feel really sad because I envisioned this wonderful life of being a content creator where I had freedom and the ability to do things and I had the money to afford things, and none of it was happening. And I was still stuck in my current position years later. For me, it got really bad probably about 6 months ago. I started becoming super desperate. I was applying to a ton of jobs, just trying to find a job that would either pay more or that was completely different than what I was doing now. I spent so much time, updating my resume, sending out applications and everything like that, and nothing happened. I didn't even get a single call back. I also tried to get promotions within my company. I tried to push for new roles and applied for internal roles in my company, and nothing happened. And as far as my social media went, I kept putting out content, but I wasn't in love with it. I was just putting out content to put out content because everyone says you need to put out content. But my life isn't super fascinating or interesting, and that means I don't have tons of content to put out. I work, and when I'm not working, I'm just kind of doing normal things, and it's hard to make content off that sometimes. And I was putting so much work into trying to create content or trying to make my life seem interesting, and the result was me just putting out, honestly, like low quality videos or videos that just weren't fun to watch. And I was doing all this just in the hopes of changing my situation and making my life better because I was so miserable at the current state of my life. So then about 2 months ago, I decided I was done. I gave up. I was miserable and I was tired of being miserable. I decided to go about my life in a different way because what I've been doing for the last few years has not been working. And I decided to give up on everything. I stopped applying for new jobs. I stopped pushing for promotions in my current company. I even stopped content creation. You'll see the last video I posted, by the time I post this, will be about 2 months ago. I stopped uploading to Instagram. I stopped filming TikToks. I literally just stopped social media, period. I also stopped worrying about where the next dollar was coming from. I was so caught up in this cycle of I need passive income or I need extra income in order to escape my job that I was so worried about money. And I stopped worrying about it. I started going out and spending money, buying things I've always wanted, and, having dessert at a restaurant or, going out with some friends and having a few drinks. I stopped worrying about finding new opportunities to make money. Back in the last few years, I tried several different methods to make money and none of them worked. And I decided to give up on that too. I went back to my old ways of just investing in the stock market, the normal way I did before. And I stopped all these newfangled things. I stopped thinking that social media was going to be my escape. And I just came to this understanding of social media or other passive income streams is not going to immediately free me from my current situation. So when I gave up, I spent a few weeks doing absolutely nothing. Because I gave up on all this stuff, I had tons more free time, and something really interesting happened. I was having fun and I was enjoying my life. I was so much happier and I didn't have as much worry and I wasn't so sad. And it was really interesting. I decided to spend this time that I, gained from giving up all this other stuff that took away time to really have fun and do things that pleased my soul. I had more time to take care of myself. I had time to exercise. I had time to cook myself healthier or more tasteful meals. I also had time to take care of my surroundings. My house became a lot cleaner because I had time set aside every night to clean, wash dishes, do laundry, vacuum. This was all stuff I did when I could fit it into my schedule before, and now I had dedicated time for it. And because my home was so much cleaner, I felt better. And in a matter of weeks, I was the happiest I've ever been in years. And I couldn't believe that such a small shift or change in what I focused my energy on could make such an impact on my life. It was from that point on that I decided I'm only going to do things that bring me joy and happiness, and I'm not going to spend time pursuing things that aren't bringing me some type of reward. I'm not going to force things to happen because I think it will make my life better. I'm not going to do things that make me miserable. So now that I talked a little bit about giving up and what that was like, I'm going to talk about what happened when I gave everything up. It was amazing. And it was almost as if when I gave up, everything started coming in and happening for me. And that was just such a fun time in my life. And I'm still going through it, and it's just something I didn't expect. And it kind of showed me that if you let go, everything works out. So after I gave up and, I stopped applying for new jobs and I stopped forcing new jobs at my current company, a job literally fell in my lap. I did not apply for it. I did not push for it. It was just offered to me. And this job came with a nice raise, and it's different than what I was doing before, and I'm really excited about it. Obviously I want to escape corporate America at some point, but it isn't happening right now. So I need to make the best of the situation. And this job opportunity was just amazing. And it just literally fell in my lap. I also started a new social media channel. I will always have this one, and I'll talk about that next. But that's something I did because I picked up a new hobby and I fell back in love with this hobby that I gave up many years ago. And I started a new channel mostly on TikTok. I have started posting on YouTube, but not as much as TikTok. And it's solely dedicated to that hobby. And what is interesting for me is I started that and I said, I don't care how many followers I get. I don't care how many likes I get. I don't care if I get monetized on this channel or not. I'm doing it completely for fun. And that whole experience of posting content just for fun has made me so much happier because there's nothing attached to it. If I post 4 times a day, I post 4 times a day. And if I don't post for 3 days, who cares? I've started making a community and making friends through this other channel, and it's just been so much more fun, and it's made me realize if I pursue the things that make me happy, generally, the reward is so much greater. So one thing that you may have noticed is I definitely slowed down on this channel. So as I mentioned before, it's been about 60 days since I posted my last video. I did take a break, and I've decided to keep posting on this channel, but I'm not going to force any content. I'm not going to create a video just to create a video. I'm not going to try and come up with an idea just to post. I'm going to post about things when they happen. and if I think it's interesting for you as a viewer. And besides that, I'm not going to worry about it. If I get monetized, I get monetized. If I don't, I don't. I just want to have fun with it. So I'm going to kind of slow down on this channel just a little bit. I'll still post, but it's only going to be when I have something important to post, whether it's a really fun trip, a really fun vlog, or just some general thoughts, kind of like this video. And I want to put out more quality content as opposed to quantity. The other thing that's happened since I gave up everything is I'm accepting my current situation and I'm living in a more positive state. Before, all I could think about was how miserable I was, how I didn't want to be doing what I was doing, and I was so desperate to get out. And desperation does lead to like despair and anguish. So a lot of negative emotions. And so now I have accepted my situation. This is what it is. I'm not going to change it overnight. And so what can I do now to make my life more enjoyable? I know this isn't going to be my long-term future, but it is my future for the short term. So I need to make the best of it. I'm appreciating what I have. I'm getting excited for the near-term future. What am I going to buy? Where am I going to go eat lunch tomorrow? Who am I going to go visit on the weekends? The simpler things are the things that I was missing out on before. And it's things I've started doing now that get me so excited and bring me more joy and happiness. I'm simply trusting that everything will work out for me and will work out in my best interest. And I'm not going to force things anymore, and exhaust myself by doing that. I've also let go of a lot of expectations. I expected to have this much money by a certain age, and I expected to be out of this situation by now, and I expected that my channel would have been monetized by a certain date. And I have thrown all that out the window. I don't care. And my situation is what it is, and I'm working towards certain goals, but I'm not putting a timeline on them, and that has made it really freeing for me because I can just see change happening gradually as opposed to I haven't met this goal that's a really far way off. So what the future is for me, I don't really know, but what I do know is that I will start to live my life in a state of enjoyment. I won't be living in a state of despair and wishing things were different, and it will make me so much more happier overall.